Welcome back to the Rouges, Yanks. We talk everything Canada soccer and U.S. soccer. Today we're going to be celebrating another milestone in this channel. 100 subs. You guys did it. And the race is won by the subscribers versus the videos. Final is 101 as it stands to, this will be the 95th, I believe. But either way, that doesn't matter. We've reached at least 100 subs. And that is huge in itself, guys. I'm blown away. I mean, this channel is about, was it, 8 months old. We started last June, around, I think, the day before Nations League, or for the U.S., whenever they were playing Honduras. That was the first ever recap video, and now look at where we are, And over that time, we've witnessed the Canadian women's national team winning the Olympics. Of course, the U.S. winning Nations League over Mexico with a historic win, and then turn around and winning the Gold Cup with whatever team you call that. I mean, and then beating them again in 2-0, and then of course the rise of Canada men's too, just becoming outstanding. And now we flip forward to 2022. Of course, we can't forget that, or last year in November, we can't forget that historic win from Canada against Mexico. Rouges beating L3 2-1 in Edmonton in the snow. Samuel Adekube's famous jumping in the snow celebration. And of course with the U.S. 2-0, and for the first ever time beating Mexico 3 times in a calendar year. There's a lot that's been accomplished over this span of 8 months, basically the lifespan of this channel so far. And, of course, it continued with Rouges getting more historic wins against Honduras in Honduras, San Pedro Sula, and, of course, recently with the U.S. So, I mean, the more this goes on, the more historical stuff that is being just turned over for me to talk about. This is really exciting. And hopefully U.S. and Canada will continue to be on the rise. I know the USA is going to be looking to bounce back from the recent loss to the Rouges, but we'll see what they can do tomorrow in Minnesota. As reminders, Canada plays El Salvador in El Salvador tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe. Yes, it is. And then before that, though, the Yanks will try and redeem themselves against Honduras. Los Catatros in Minnesota at Allianz Field, Minnesota United at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see what they can bounce back from Rouges, and we'll see if Rouges can possibly, if things can fall in their favor. They're going to need a few things. I forgot the list, but there's a few things that Canada needs, and one of them includes the USA losing to Honduras in order for Canada to clinch a World Cup berth to Qatar. So, who knows? Tomorrow we could possibly see Rouges going to Qatar, booking their ticket, and we'll see after that. But yeah, we just got to keep an eye on that. But once again, just a big thank you, guys. You guys made this happen. You guys are all responsible for this, and for getting this far. 100 subs and one. This has just been historical, and I can't believe how fast it's grown relatively to, I never really thought this would happen. So, big thank you to you guys, and hopefully there's more growth to come. And this is, without further ado, a sub special. And in this sub special, I know I had stuff planned. I had a whole list of stuff I got to talk about, but this was one video that I just really wanted to talk about. And yet I kept just kicking a can down the road. I just kept putting it off, and eventually I got off to at one point just saying, I'm just not gonna make it. I don't think it's really that significant, but in reality it is significant. And if you see by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about major transfers in the MLS in particular. Of course, there's a lot of European rumors around Canadian American players, but for that, I don't really know if they're confirmed or not, so to just play it safe, we're just going to be talking about what is confirmed in the MLS, as well as there has been a few transfers such as Matt Turner, Gianluca Busio, and of course Tanner Tessman that were not mentioned on the list, but we all know where they went to. Probably a few other names too on that list that weren't mentioned, but that's also where you guys can come into play too. Is mention in the comments if I forget any Canadian or American names, as well as any major transfer that probably went down and that I'm not aware of, And depending on how many there is, I'll compile all those names into another list and then make another video, a separate video just giving them their credit as well. So, yeah, if I miss any names or any names that are going on or any transfers that have happened after the video's been posted, I can, depending on the amount of names that are missed or that are newly traded, I can make a new video or maybe another part to this. But For now, I think this might be one part. If it goes way longer than what I want it to be, I'll probably break it into two because I don't. It's gonna be like the major events calendar video in a way, where 20-minute video. This may be part one, part two, whatever, part three it is, whatever it is. But I mean, I do want to talk about each trade. You know what this means to the player as well as what this means to the national team they play on, whether it be U.S. or Canada. And I don't really want to rush this because this is interesting, and I think it's something that everybody or a lot of people should know about. So, without further ado, I'm going to be going through all the 28 MLS teams. Of course, a lot of MLS teams did not make this, so I think overall there's like 15 major trades to talk about. Of course, with the three that weren't mentioned, Tessman, Matt Turner, and Gianluca Busio. So that's 18 we're going to be talking about, and I'm pretty sure it's going to easily go over 20 minutes. Obviously, with me just starting with the intro and assuming I'll take a minute, but even though I'm probably not going to take a minute per player, it's all these going to be part two and part one video. So this will be uploaded as well as the part two. So without that, I do want to go into these names, and yeah, I mean we've got first the 15 known names to unpack, and the first one begins with George Bellow from Atlanta United. He will be heading to, as of January 31st, so yesterday, he will be heading to Armenia. I believe it's Biffield. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Please correct me if in the comments if I butchered that. Pretty sure I did. But that is a German Bundesliga team. And George Bellow from Atlanta United, I mean, this is just, it's a huge trade for him. And hopefully, this means a lot for his development as well, not just for him personally, but for the USMNT. I know Greg Berhalter typically called him in as one of the domestic players, such as the Gold Cup squad. He was part of that whenever they won. And hopefully, by this move, him going to the Bundesliga, this would just continue to help him develop into a key player. And maybe we can see a lot more out of him going in the future. Maybe he can probably just continue to expand the talent pool for the USMNT in general. Because George Bellow, I remember watching him play, and I was like, I don't know. He was always one of those players that were iffy to watch, but definitely one of Greg Berhalter's go-to guys. So he's always been there. So just for the sake of Greg Berhalter, should he remain the coach of the USMNT? I know there's a lot of backlash currently, especially after that loss to Canada, from USMNT fans saying, they want Greg out, and he's not the guy. But I'm not going to get into all that, but I'm just going to talk about the player. And should Greg Berhalter remain, and should he continue to call on Bellow, which I think he will, for a domestic-based squad, this transfer is perfect for him. There's definitely a good start. Something he can build off of. Armenia, I think is Bielefeld, I think. Once again, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But it's a European club, and it's a Bundesliga club, so he's going to a way better level than MLS at the moment. And, I mean, that's what exactly the game plan is, and that's the keys to the game for both Canada and U.S. soccer at the moment. Send the players to Europe. Send as many as you can. That's where the cradle is. That's where all the best talent is. And from there, let them develop. Let them learn new lessons. Let them learn something they can take back and even better improve the national team. I look at Canada, and look at the USA, all this talent that's rising in North America, right? Let them come back to something they can learn and teach others, and perhaps send more people off to Europe for it. So, George Bellow, I say it's a great start. Maybe he can keep developing and work his way up to a better trade. Maybe a well-known European club, one of the power. He's already in a Power 5 league, I think is what they call it. Bundesliga is one of the top in Europe, although some people call it a farmers league because Bayern always wins it. But hey, it doesn't matter. I don't really care about that. I care that he's in Germany and he's in the Bundesliga, and he's getting Europe somewhere, just some way getting the top talent he can. So I'm just happy for that, and that's George Bellow, and hopefully he can take something where he can develop going forward and take back for the USMNT. So that's George Bellow's trade to Germany as of yesterday. So kudos to George Bellow and good luck to him. The next trade is Kellen Acosta from, I think, the Colorado Rapids. And as of January 14th, 2022, so about 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3, he was traded to LAFC, so really not really a European trade here, but I'll say this trade is kind of really still significant to talk about, as Kellen Acosta. I mean, he's another one of Greg Bolger's go-to guys domestically, and he's just a cross league transfer to LAFC, same conference, Western Conference. Um, so he's not, in terms of the talent level, I don't think he's really getting better, a better like talent, but he is just getting moved around the league, and maybe this can be a stepping stone for a bigger potential move. I gotta get water, but yeah, maybe LAFC can maybe he can use that as like a transfer for a major step to Europe or somewhere. But yeah, for Kellen Acosta, I personally, he's another guy I want to see go to Europe, as I just want to see him just develop, especially if he's one of Greg Bolger's guys, and yeah, I just want to see him just develop and just get better. Really, just take some stuff he can learn back and bring back to the USMNT to improve. Especially just expand the talent pool. Because right now, me personally, I don't see Kellen Acosta as being one of the top players for the USMNT, but he is on the rise, so maybe he can keep working there and get better. But to me, the move to LAFC, it's decent. I mean, ideally, you would want to see something better, but hey, I mean, if this is a stepping stone to something bigger, I'm all for it. And as long as he just continues to improve and just get better. So, who knows? Maybe this will lead to something bigger, but Kellen Acosta definitely, I would want to see in the future. Maybe if it's, I mean, I don't know about next season because that's kind of a stretch, but at least maybe 2 or 3 seasons from now, maybe he's in Europe and just really progressing, but I don't know. And then, yeah, just in terms of the USMNT, one of Greg Bolger's go-to guys domestically. Hopefully he can take something he can learn from LAFC perhaps and use that to build his own talent and then move that to Europe and then from there get better. But we can only wait to see. And so that's Kellen Acosta's move, cross-league move, cross-conference move to LAFC. And then on the same team, we have the same Colorado Rapids team with Austin Trustee. And this was also made yesterday, so relatively recently, January 31st, 2022. He's been transferred to Arsenal, and Arsenal recently has been taking a peek at a few players here in MLS. Matt Turner, which was unfortunately not on this list, but we all know about Matt Turner's situation. He's being called, but I'm going to talk about him later. But right now, Austin Trustee being transferred to Arsenal, that's huge. That is huge. As he's getting better. In Austin Trustee, I believe he's another one of Greg Bolger's domestic talent guys, which he'll call for maybe a Gold Cup or something. He's another player that could be potentially fun to watch, especially he's going to Arsenal, personally my favorite EPO side. So yeah, maybe he can learn something at Arsenal and take back to the USMNT, as well as develop his own talent. This is exciting too, especially if Greg Bolger really calls the guy. I really haven't seen him around for World Cup qualifiers, so I don't know if he's really going to get in that unless he gets called into the March window. But in terms of Austin Trustee and the USMNT, I think he's more likely to be called into a Gold Cup roster or perhaps a Nations League roster. One of those domestic-based tournaments. Maybe he'll, depending on how much he develops at Arsenal, maybe we'll see him develop there. But, yeah, Arsenal, that's a huge move. Obviously, he's going to the Premier League, and Arsenal are one of the, for recent years, they've been one of the mid to top teams, although they've really struggled recently. But either way, Arsenal is still far better than the MLS, and so he already is getting the top talent base there, and he's going to be learning a lot, even if he's coming off the bench or is on the reserve. So that's just good. Just once again, send as many players to Europe as we can. Both U.S. and Canadian players need to go to Europe, and Austin Trustee just asked this, and I'm really, really excited to see what kind of player he becomes and his development plan continues to be. So that'll be exciting. So maybe we have to keep an eye on him to see that. But that's Austin Trustee. Once again, loaned to Arsenal. Maybe they'll sign him. And then for back in December, we'll go to the next player, Liam Frazier, a Canadian player. Back in December 1st, 2021, he originally was with TFC. They loaned him out to Columbus Crew, and then Columbus eventually, I think, loaned him to the Belgium second tier league. I'm sorry if I'm not this, but KMSK Dienze, I believe. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he is in Belgium. He's in the second tier league. That's Europe. And hey, I mean, look at where he's became. Leon Frazier. Just, I mean, I don't even got to like say a lot. I mean, still stunned. Just go back to that Honduras game. He threaded the needle to Jonathan David, and and then in the U.S. game, he came up big. I mean, he was once again a big player, even if he came off the bench. He still had a big impact and a footprint on the game. And just look at the player he's became. Ever since starting at TFC, I'm pretty sure us TFC fans can remember, right? Leon Frazier and how he played at TFC, and then he went to Columbus for a short period, and now look where he's at in Belgium and Europe. I mean, he already looks like a different player, and I mean, he just looks. That's what I like to see. I mean, it blows my mind away how much he's improved and how much his talent level has gotten better. Just from TFC to Belgium, Leon Frazier just looks like a completely different player, and that's definitely an exciting player. Definitely exciting player for not just him, but as well for the Canadian national team as well, and just the talent pool once again. You're sending as many players to Europe as you can, and I mean, yeah, just Leon Frazier, second tier Belgium, and maybe he can use Belgium to perhaps these recent performances at these World Cup qualifier games can send him to a bigger performance or a bigger team. Maybe some better quality opponent teams or European teams can maybe start looking an eye on him. Maybe Premier League or even the Championship. Maybe they can start to look at him. But either way, he's already in Europe. He's already gotten better. And maybe hopefully he'll continue to improve. And that would just add to the just significance of the talent depth for Canadian soccer. And my word, yeah, Leon Frazier. I'm blown away by how much he's gotten better, as well as how much he's showing the quality of his talent he showed in the recent games for Canada soccer. So that already says a lot in itself. Leon Frazier to Belgium, second tier league, but maybe perhaps especially after this recent game for World qualifying window, maybe he'll make a bigger move in Europe. We have to just keep and see, but Leon Frazier by far is definitely one of the most improved players I've seen as well. And then we go to our next player, is Parola, leaving DC United, heading to FC Dallas. And once again, this is another cross-league transfer, east to west though. Transfer made on January 26, 2022, so a couple days ago. And Parola, this is an interesting case because this is another one of Greg Bolger's guys. And although it's not a trade to Europe, I mean, it maybe once just like the player I just talked about from Colorado Rapids to LAFC. Maybe this can amount to something bigger. Maybe it's a stepping stone. I think Kellen Acosta, right, as I just said. So maybe you'll be at Kellen Acosta, and maybe that will lead to perhaps a bigger move maker to Europe. Parola is just, he's always been that guy. That I've been watching. I'm like, come on, Greg Bolger, you can do better than that. I mean, Parola, given his credit, he's pretty good, but compared to the other talent that the USMNT has, I mean, he's not the guy. He can be a contender, but he's just not quite there yet. And I believe a move to Europe would have solidified this and would have drastically improved it, kind of like Leon Frazier. But just going to DC United, leaving DC United and going to FC Dallas, cross league. It's interesting, and it says a lot already. So maybe this can be a stepping stone, kind of like Kellen Acosta, but we can only find out. I would like to see Parola. He's definitely one of the guys I would like to see get some massive improvement. But I don't know. This trade's interesting. He's just, unless FC Dallas continues to draw in better players or fellow USMNT players, like I know Ricardo Pepe left. We all know that one. I'm going to talk about him probably in the next video because this one's almost out of time. But Parola, I just want to see him just develop better. He has the potential, but just making a move across the league like this, I don't know if we're gonna see some drastic improvement. But hey, I mean, who am I to judge? I mean, just like Kellen Acosta, I mean, him and Kellen Acosta can make drastic turnarounds and open up moves to Europe, and they can prove me wrong. You know, especially if they're Greg Butcher's go-to guys. But once again, just Parola just for a domestic player. I would have really, really loved to see a move to Europe, but I mean, he's going to FC Dallas, so maybe he can just things can go up from there. But in terms of being on a Gold Cup roster or any kind of domestic tournament, I would really, really, really love to see him go to Europe, and just not just for his sake, but for the U.S. MNT's player development pool. You know, just get better just in terms of U.S. talent as well. A move to Europe would really, really make a statement on that. But that's Parola, and that's probably the last player I'm going to talk about for this one. Of course, part 2 will be out right after this one, but we've reached 20 minutes, and I don't want to really go over 20 minutes. So if you like this video as a sub special, make sure you like this. Make sure you like it, share it, and also if you like it, also subscribe. Tell your friends about it. You know, this is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, and yeah, tell your friends. 100 subs, and big thank you.